Fire's open, you know.
One half the crowd. That's good for this one.
There we go.
Sort of a I took one picture of me, one of him, and I just flipped it over. Made another print.
Say cheese.
Let me show you his picture when he was young.
Wait, let's pretty good. The glass that low, so you're not on letters.
He looked like a baby.
I think I made one flight.
Very good. That was a good one.
Yesterday I was saying
How about those
how much
other
trouble
ones?
it was to get up to the house.
Jerry did though. How are you?
No, that's I don't
Say cheese.
There's more to
There's Donnelly, there's Parks out of the office, John McGinn.
Oh, Frank, all right.
Steve.
Computer for a brain.
I mean, this guy.
Mrs. Anderson
This
here.
picture, Sandy.
Okay, okay.
He's dancing there.
I thought it was whole.
Gotta have something here to show for posterior.
Right.
How did we get to the tinny about? I don't remember.
Did you see the exact very late picture of the second?
Well, how did you guys come back with it? You guys didn't fly anymore.
Great picture.
No, because the plane was.
Yeah. So it's her dog.
7-Up?
Oh, mine are problems.
This one was
I've already seen you, Paul.
Yeah.
With 10 pictures with 7. Bob didn't.
Oh, yeah.
The crew chief.
Bob died here a couple of months ago, a couple of years ago.
Was it an airplane?
No, he had cancer.
Really? But he stayed in the service. Did he stay as a pilot?
Okay,
How were you?
This is our oldest.
Hey, George. Happy
In pennies?
You think they could do a decent job on me and Jack? We're interested in getting.
Do they do transplant work or anything like that?
I'll be there. Get on the ride.
He's not going to be there for this one.
I don't like any additives on my things.
Yeah, I got that.
I don't drink much.
You live so long with 100.
Now, when I smoked, it had to be either a Camel at first or a Pall Mall after. Nothing else was good. I have a feeling that if you'd given me a lucky strike in my car, I would still be.
Yeah, he went to McGill.
I need his VCR. It
doesn't work. It doesn't flash.
Now, ladies here, they put it 12 in most people.
Sure you're going to get some there now.
You don't know.
I would screen the state.
We're running competition with the hotel.
Right.
And I think he's very good.
Well, you could lie. Chief.
What do you say, Chief?
Not much, buddy.
I was at an awkward age.
Youngest guy in the outfit.
I got out of high school.
Kenny was. That's a guy.
16 in February, and I graduated. Yep. I couldn't get a shot.
Brandon.
There he is. Must have been a damn minute with him if I had the world peace.
I don't think he saw Channel 2, boy.
I remember when we got it, you come back and
Stand down. Well, we had to go.
Roy and I are similar.
I ended up in the aggressive terrible, right?
I can't believe this. I'll go on your runway.
And we'll have to do one salute, right?
I don't know what you were doing. When I tell you, you will be very sure of where you were, and you'll remember all your life. I was listening to the Chicago Bears on the radio. It was 1 o'clock. It was 7 December 1940. And they stopped play of the game, and President Roosevelt came on, and he spoke of the Japanese Empire had attacked Pearl Harbor. He said that the damage was beyond belief, and the number of deaths were tremendous. Joining 151 was really a highlight of my life. I've had political careers, speaking careers, trial lawyer experiences. But 151 was the absolute greatest thing that ever happened. And of course, I shouldn't say this disrespectfully, but I wanted to get in an airplane. And I stayed around for a month to get up my nerve. And one day I walked in and I said, "Mr. Kercheval, can I speak to the captain?" And I remember what he said. He said, "Francis Anthony, what's on your mind?" I remember that. And I said, "Captain, I'm not a pencil pusher." I said, "I want to go to gunnery school and I want to fly." Well, he said I was crazy. We already had answers, so we didn't want two guys who were crazy in his war business. And anyway, he said, "You got two kids, one kid in school and one a real young boy." He said, "You take a shower and you come back in 24 hours." And I was back in 22. And by God, I got him at the right time. And he said I could do it. Say to you, I've been in a lot of functions in my life. Big ones. I never was any place that is as deserving and as wonderful as this reunion. To me, it's let some of us live once more. I think that down the line, we ought to think about doing it again. I want to say something else. This is a little delicate, but we didn't appreciate the enlisted men. They were 17, they were 18, and they were 19. And they hadn't manifested the great character that was theirs, and the courage, and the common sense, and the desire to be a good citizen. We didn't see that time. The thing that is most pleasant to me, the enlisted men in this squadron accomplished more than anybody I ever knew. And there's nothing more rewarding than to see that. And they helped make 151 just as much, perhaps more, than the officers. And these guys offered so much. And I'm proud. I gotta read some names. Where's Frank? Can I do these now? I'm gonna read some names. Squadron members that went down off of Hawaii. Al Staub, Crew 14. Ensign Batchelor, Crew 14. John R. Smith, an enlisted man that I was very fond of. He was strictly such a class guy. He was a wonderful fellow. J.M. Kress for Crew 14. K.E. Merrill of Crew 14. And J. Pincario of Crew 14. And I would always have this very special in my heart. They were shot down over William. I had briefed them before, and there were two planes, Tubes Gardner and Sandy Kelly. I got to tell you, we don't know to this day. There are photographs that show Kelly's plane burning off. And I want to mention their names: Al Staub, Batchelor, Franklin, Kelly Sandy, Gene Hall, Richard H. Duden, Hugh Wright, Everett H. Hull, and August Middletown, all of Crew 6.
We have four Purple Heart recipients. One gentleman is not with us today, Doherty, Wallace E. Doherty, is not with us today. I would like three of the remaining members that are with us to step forward and to take the floor, please, with us today. Robert A. Swank, Leroy A. Bannock, and Theodore D. Creek.
I want to say one more thing.
just love you, boys. I'm glad we're all here. Well, I need Hamilton, Page, and of course Bob. He'd be here if he could.
Okay, you got us all that?
Now, and it was such a proud experience. It's kind of a left-handed compliment, but I think it's just wonderful to realize how successful the enlisted men have been in life and how far they reached. I don't say that because we officers were any better. I say it, they were so much younger than we, and we could not recognize the great potential that stands right here. And I think that you ought to realize that this was one of the highlights of certainly my life, but these four men did the job. Believe me, these four men did the job. I went along for the walk, and I can't express my gratitude in its fullness and express it well enough for you to understand. But these are the guys that presented the great event that we've just experienced. Thank you very much. There was a common denominator by the squadron of 151. They all said it. He's going all the way. And that's exactly what he did. He went all the way. I want to read two letters that I think tell from big people who Paul Masterton was and what he stood for. The next letter is dated 10th of June, 1963, on White House stationery. Dear Admiral Masterton, witnessing operations from the Oriskany and Kitty Hawk was an enlightening experience for me and my guests. I appreciate all the efforts of the officers and men required of this operation. I was impressed with your explanation of the Navy tactical data system and with the great improvement it provides in air defense. Thank you very much for the ashtray, which will serve as a reminder of a most satisfying visit. With all best wishes, sincerely, John F. Kennedy. It is my honor to present Vice Admiral Paul Masterton. You
USA.
Thank you very much. And Gunnar, I am most appreciative of the introduction. Lest anybody in the audience think I'm a lifelong Democrat, because of John F. Kennedy, I'm not. I'm a lousy Republican. And in spite of the fact that I got a couple of letters from these fellows about my performance, it's generally one of those things, and that has to be. We don't serve any particular party in our operations with the Navy, and we like the Democrats as much as the Republicans. And unfortunately, John Kennedy came to an untimely end in Dallas. And I really feel that he was one of the greatest. He had all the personality, all the panache, as we are wont to call it. And he was a great person. But the same can be said about anybody that ends up as President of the United States. Hubert Humphrey was a terrific guy. Johnson was a terrific guy. Eisenhower was a terrific guy. Reagan was a terrific guy. They all had personalities which exceed anything that the rest of us could possibly hope to achieve. So I am neither Republican nor Democrat. And the fact that I got some letters from the Democrats, and I was a personal favorite of Mr. Kennedy, was merely an expression of personal friendship. The young pilots and the young enlisted personnel of the crews were only about 20, 24, something like that. And I'm so glad that they are here tonight in such a large turnout. After all, we had a small squadron, 18 crews of 6 people, and I think we had 6 supernumeraries all told, who were maintenance and radar and radio and whatnot. No more than that. And we've got a huge gang in here tonight. And I'm so happy to see all of you looking so well. In 1943 or something like that, I was called to the office of Fleet Air Wing 8 and told I was going to take over the squadron. And I was told that I was going to have to put it together in Whidbey Island. Great place. Marvelous. And we got most of the officers out of a pool at Alameda, and most of the enlisted personnel came from other squadrons at Whidbey. And they equipped us with airplanes, and we went on from there. And I remember thinking when Bowen McLeod, who was the operations officer of Fleet Air Wing 8 or 10 or something like that, at Alameda, when he told me about it, that they were thinking about making me commanding officer, I thought, boy, they are really scraping the bottom of the barrel. of good because when I left VPB 151, Cooper was the last man in the whole business. And I'm sorry that Cooper isn't here tonight. He sent me a Christmas card, and he signed it Cooper, Civilian First Class. Well, I said, Cooper, we've got to make this look good. So come on in here, and I opened the office door and shoved him in there. And I said, you better plead guilty to this thing, because I'm going to suspend the sentence for 6 months, and you'll be out of the Navy by then. And when we're going to mail it to the Pew Purse, care of the postmaster in Tokyo. Well, apparently Cooper never had anything happen to him, and our scheme worked perfectly. But Cooper never should have been arrested in the first place. But, well, that's one of the stories of war. If my wife were here, she would join me in saying that we're happy to have you back, we're happy to have you looking so well. Mostly, we're happy that we had a fine reunion